whisper in the shadows. Alex's footsteps echoed faintly as he crept through the corridor, his flashlight casting weak beams that barely pushed back the oppressive darkness. The air grew colder with every step, and the castle's silence was as heavy as the walls that surrounded him. He didn't know where he was going. He was simply moving, driven by the need to escape Mihai's relentless pursuit and the cursed hum of the bloodstone in his bag. His ribs ached with every breath, and the talisman around his neck felt like the only thing keeping the shadows from swallowing him whole. Then, faintly, he heard it a whisper. Alex froze, his heart leaping into his throat. He swung the flashlight toward the sound, his hand trembling. "Who's there?" he called, his voice cracking in the stillness. For a long moment, there was no answer. Then the whisper came again, soft, urgent, and unmistakably human. "This way." Alex's grip tightened on the flashlight. The voice was feminine, and though it didn't carry the malevolent edge of the whispers he'd been hearing, it still set his nerves on edge. He turned toward the sound, the beam of his flashlight illuminating a faint figure in the distance. A woman stood at the end of the hallway, her face pale in the dim light. Her hair was long and dark, and her clothes, simple and worn, looked as though they belonged to another era entirely. She raised a hand, beckoning him forward. "Wait," Alex said, his mind racing. "Who are you? How did you get here?" "There's no time to explain," the woman said, her voice low but insistent. "You need to come with me. He'll find you if you stay here." The first meeting. Against his better judgment, Alex followed her. She moved quickly and silently, glancing back every few steps to make sure he was keeping up. "Who are you?" Alex asked again, his voice hushed. The woman glanced over her shoulder, her expression unreadable. "My name is Anna. I've been here for longer than I care to remember." Alex frowned. "In the castle." Anna nodded but didn't elaborate. "And Mihai?" Alex pressed. "Do you know him?" Her jaw tightened at the mention of the old groundskeeper. "I know what he is," she said cryptically, "and I know he won't stop until the bloodstone gets what it wants." Alex felt a chill crawl down his spine. "You know about the bloodstone?" Anna stopped abruptly and turned to face him. Her dark eyes locked onto his, her expression grim. "I know more about it than you could possibly imagine." Trapped by the castle, Anna led Alex into a small, circular chamber off the main hallway. It was dimly lit by a single flickering torch mounted on the wall, and the air here was marginally warmer. She motioned for him to sit on a crumbling bench near the wall while she paced the room, her movements quick and agitated. "How are you still alive?" Alex asked, breaking the silence. "If you've been here for years, how have you survived?" Anna's expression softened, though there was an edge of bitterness to her smile. "The castle keeps me alive," she said. "It won't let me leave, but it won't let me die either. I've tried, many times." Alex felt a knot tighten in his stomach. "Why?" "Because I know the truth about the bloodstone," Anna said, her voice low. "And because it needs me." Her words hung in the air like a curse. Alex shifted uncomfortably. "What truth?" Anna stopped pacing and faced him directly. "The bloodstone isn't just an artifact. It's a piece of something older, something from before this world. It doesn't just feed on blood. It feeds on the souls of those it claims. And once it marks you, there's no escape, a path to destruction." Alex shook his head, his hands clenching into fists. "There has to be a way to stop it, to destroy it." "There is," Anna said, though her tone carried no hope. Alex's breath caught. "How?" Anna hesitated, her gaze drifting toward the flickering torchlight. "Destroying the bloodstone isn't simple. It's not enough to smash it or bury it. It's bound to the castle, to the rituals performed here. To end it, you'd have to sever that connection, and that requires power." "What kind of power?" Alex asked, though he already dreaded the answer. Anna met his gaze, her expression unyielding. "A life for a life. The bloodstone was created through sacrifice, and only through sacrifice can it be destroyed. Someone has to willingly offer themselves to it, body, blood, and soul. It's the only way to break its hold. The cost of freedom." Alex stared at her, his mind reeling. You're saying someone has to die. That's the only way. Anna nodded solemnly. Yes, but it's not just death. It's everything. The bloodstone doesn't just take life. It consumes the very essence of a person, binds it to itself. Whoever makes that sacrifice, they'll be trapped in the stone forever. Alex's throat tightened. And you know this because Anna hesitated, her eyes flickering with pain. Because it almost took me. I was supposed to be the sacrifice, but something went wrong. The ritual failed, and I was left here, caught between the castle and the world outside. She took a deep breath, her voice softening. That's why I can't leave, and that's why it's chosen you now. Alex felt a wave of nausea wash over him. Why me? Why didn't it take Mihai? Because Mihai isn't what it wants, Anna said bitterly. He's a keeper, a servant, not a vessel. The bloodstone needs someone it can bind to, someone it can consume completely. It saw something in you when you touched it, something it desires, a choice to make. Alex stood abruptly, his body trembling with anger and fear. There has to be another way. I'm not going to sacrifice myself to that thing. I'm not just going to give up. Anna sighed. You think I haven't tried to find another way? I've spent years searching, through the castle, through the rituals, through the fragments of history left behind. There is no other way, Alex. You can't fight the castle. You can't fight the bloodstone. Then why are you still alive? Alex snapped. Why didn't you just finish it? Anna flinched, her composure cracking for the first time. Because I'm a coward, she admitted quietly. Because I couldn't face the thought of being trapped in that thing forever. And now it's too late for me. The castle won't let me near the bloodstone anymore. It knows I've failed. Alex stared at her, his emotions warring within him. He didn't know whether to pity her or hate her for giving up, an uneasy alliance. Then help me, Alex said finally, his voice firm. If I'm going to do this, if I'm going to fight this thing, I need your help. Anna's eyes widened slightly. You're serious? Alex nodded. If there's even a chance I can destroy it without giving in, I have to try, but I can't do it alone. For a long moment, Anna said nothing. Then she sighed, her shoulders sagging with resignation. You're a fool, she said softly, but you're braver than I ever was. She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. The bloodstone is bound to the castle through its altar, the sacrificial chamber you found. It's the key. If you can sever the connection there, you might weaken it enough to destroy it. How? Alex asked. Anna's expression darkened. By undoing the ritual that binds it. But it won't be easy. The castle will fight you every step of the way, and the bloodstone will resist. If you fail, it will take you. Alex swallowed hard, his hands clenching into fists. Then I won't fail. Anna studied him for a moment, her gaze unreadable. Then she extended her hand. Let's hope you're right, she said. Alex hesitated, then took her hand. Let's end this, he said. The missing reflection. Alex walked beside Anna as they made their way through the dimly lit corridors of the castle. Her steps were soundless, her movements unnervingly graceful, as though she floated rather than walked. The weight of their conversation still hung heavy in the air. The bloodstone's insidious power, the need to destroy it, and the horrifying cost of doing so. But despite Anna's apparent willingness to help, something about her unsettled Alex. There was an otherworldly quality to her presence, something he couldn't quite put his finger on. The shadows seemed to linger around her longer, and her voice carried an echo that didn't belong in the confined stone halls. They turned a corner into a wider room, a ruined banquet hall with crumbling tapestries and a broken chandelier hanging precariously above. As Alex swept the flashlight across the space, his beam caught the ornate frame of a massive gilded mirror. The glass was cracked, but its surface still reflected the room in fractured shards. Alex stopped in his tracks, the flashlight lowering slightly. Anna, walking just ahead of him, paused and turned. What is it? Alex didn't respond immediately. Instead, he stared at the mirror. The fragmented surface showed the flickering light of his flashlight, the tattered remains of the tapestries, and his own pale, sweat-streaked face. But Anna wasn't there. Her figure was absent from the glass entirely, as though the mirror had no place for her. Alex's blood ran cold, confronting Anna. "Anna," he said slowly, his voice tightening. "Come here." Anna frowned, her dark eyes narrowing. "Why?" "Just come here," Alex repeated, gesturing toward the mirror. She approached cautiously, her footsteps silent against the stone floor. "What is it?" Alex motioned toward the mirror. "Look." Anna's gaze flicked to the cracked surface, and for a brief moment, something crossed her face. An emotion too fleeting for Alex to identify. But she quickly turned away, her expression hardening. "There's nothing there," she said flatly. "Exactly," Alex replied, his voice rising. "You're not there. Why aren't you there?" Anna sighed and folded her arms across her chest. "You already know the answer to that." "No," Alex said, stepping closer, his grip tightening on the flashlight. "No, I don't. You need to explain this right now." Anna hesitated, her gaze shifting to the ground. "It's complicated." Alex's frustration boiled over. "Complicated? You tell me the castle keeps you alive, that you've been trapped here for years, and now you don't have a reflection? What the hell are you, Anna?" Her head snapped up, and for the first time, anger flashed in her eyes. "I'm exactly what I told you," she snapped. "I'm trapped, bound to this place just like you are. The only difference is that I've been here longer, and I've learned how to survive." "Survive is what?" Alex pressed. Anna took a step back, her hands clenched into fists. For a moment, Alex thought she might refuse to answer. Then she exhaled sharply, her shoulders sagging. "Anna's revelation. I told you the castle won't let me leave," Anna began, her voice quieter now. "But that wasn't the whole truth. It's not just the castle that binds me. It's the bloodstone." Alex froze, his stomach knotting. "What do you mean?" Anna's gaze turned distant, her eyes fixed on a point far beyond the room. "When I first came here, I was like you. I was young, curious, looking for answers to questions I never should have asked. The castle lured me in, and the bloodstone, it marked me, just like it's marked you." Alex's grip tightened on the flashlight. "But you're still alive." "Not entirely," Anna said bitterly. "When the ritual failed, it left me halfway. I'm not alive, but I'm not dead either. I exist somewhere in between." Her words hit Alex like a blow. He took a step back, his mind racing. "You're saying you're what? A ghost?" Anna's lips curved into a faint, humorless smile. "Not a ghost. Not entirely. I have a body, but it doesn't belong to me anymore. The castle sustains me, but only because the bloodstone allows it. It feeds on me the same way it feeds on everything else in this place." Doubt and distrust. Alex felt the room spin. "So you're part of this thing, this curse?" "Yes," Anna admitted, her voice laced with bitterness. "But I didn't choose this. I didn't ask for it. And I've spent years trying to find a way to end it. How can I trust you?" Alex demanded. "How do I know you're not just another part of this nightmare, sent to manipulate me?" Anna flinched, but her gaze remained steady. "You don't," she said simply. "You don't have to trust me. But if you want to survive, if you want to stop the bloodstone, you don't have a choice." Alex clenched his jaw, his thoughts a chaotic whirlwind of fear and suspicion. Everything about this woman felt wrong, from her unnatural silence to her missing reflection. Yet there was a desperation in her voice that rang true, a pain that mirrored his own. "What happens if I don't destroy it?" he asked finally. Anna's expression darkened. "Then it will keep feeding. On you, on me, on anyone who comes near this place. It will grow stronger until there's nothing left to stop it. A fragile alliance." Alex ran a hand through his hair, his breathing shallow. Every instinct screamed at him to push her away, to run as far as he could from the strange, otherworldly woman who had appeared out of nowhere. But deep down, he knew she was right. He couldn't do this alone. "Fine," he said reluctantly. "I'll work with you. But if you're lying to me..." "I'm not," Anna interrupted, her tone sharp. "Believe me, Alex, I want the bloodstone destroyed as much as you do. More even." "Why?" Alex asked, his eyes narrowing. "What's in it for you?" Anna hesitated, her gaze flickering with something Alex couldn't quite place. Because if the Bloodstone is destroyed, I'll finally be free. No more castle. No more half-life. Just freedom. Alex studied her carefully, searching for any hint of deception. But her face betrayed nothing. Fine, he said again, his voice firmer this time. But I need answers, Anna. No more half-truths, no more secrets. If you know something that can help me, you tell me. Everything. Anna nodded, her expression solemn. Agreed. A plan forms. Anna moved toward the mirror, her gaze lingering on its cracked surface. The Bloodstone is the key to everything, she said, her voice thoughtful. But destroying it isn't just about severing its connection to the castle. You have to sever its connection to you. How? Alex asked. The altar, Anna replied. The sacrificial chamber. That's where the Bloodstone's power is anchored. If we can disrupt the ritual, we might weaken it enough to destroy it. But it won't be easy. The castle will fight back. Alex felt a flicker of hope stir within him, though it was quickly tempered by the weight of her words. And what happens to me if it works? Anna's gaze dropped to the floor. I don't know, she admitted. But if we don't try, you already know what will happen. Alex swallowed hard, his throat dry. Then we need to move fast. Mihai's out there, and I don't think he's going to give up until the Bloodstone gets what it wants. Anna nodded, a spark of determination lighting her dark eyes. Then let's end this. The hunt begins. The castle's oppressive silence was broken only by the sound of hurried footsteps as Alex and Anna navigated its twisting corridors. Their plan was fragile, built on hope and desperation, but it was all they had. The Bloodstone pulsed faintly in Alex's bag, a steady reminder of its presence and the growing threat it posed. Mihai won't stop, Anna said quietly as they turned a corner into a narrow hallway. Her voice carried a sharp edge, filled with years of bitter experience. He'll come for us. For you. Alex nodded grimly. I know. They reached a small, dimly lit room, an antechamber with crumbling furniture and an arched doorway that led deeper into the castle. Alex stopped to catch his breath, his chest tight with the lingering pain from Mihai's earlier attack. We need to stay ahead of him, Anna said, glancing over her shoulder. Her dark eyes flickered with concern, but Alex shook his head. No, he's not going to stop chasing us. If we're going to destroy the Bloodstone, we need to deal with Mihai first. Anna's lips pressed into a thin line. Dealing with Mihai isn't as easy as you think. He's been here longer than I have. The castle, it protects him. Then we make sure he doesn't get the chance to use it, Alex said firmly, gripping the flashlight in his hand. Before Anna could respond, the faint echo of Mihai's cane tapping against the stone floor reached their ears. The sound was distant but unmistakable, a chilling rhythm that made the hair on the back of Alex's neck stand on end. He's close, Anna whispered, her voice tight. Alex turned toward the arched doorway. Let's move. Mihai's appearance. They stepped into a larger chamber, its high ceiling lost in shadow. The walls were lined with shelves of decaying books, their spines warped and crumbling with age. A single, massive window at the far end let in faint moonlight, illuminating the dust motes that swirled in the air. The tapping of Mihai's cane grew louder, echoing off the stone walls. He knows we're here, Anna said, her voice barely above a whisper. Alex gripped his flashlight tightly, his pulse racing. The rhythmic tapping stopped abruptly, plunging the room into an eerie silence. Mihai, Alex called, his voice echoing through the chamber. It's over. You can't stop us. For a moment, there was no response. Then, from the shadows near the far wall, Mihai stepped into the moonlight. His pale eyes gleamed with fury, and his expression was twisted with contempt. The cane in his hand seemed to strike the floor harder than necessary, each step deliberate and menacing. You're a fool, Alex, Mihai said, his voice cold and steady. You think you can outsmart the castle? The Bloodstone, you've already lost. Alex held his ground, his flashlight trained on Mihai. It's not too late, Mihai. We can end this. Together. End this. Mihai scoffed. You don't understand what you're dealing with. The Bloodstone isn't just an artifact. It's the heart of this place. Destroy it, and the castle crumbles. Do you think it will let you go? The confrontation. Anna stepped forward, her gaze hard and unyielding. You're wrong, Mihai. The Bloodstone doesn't care about the castle. It only cares about feeding. You're just another pawn, keeping it alive because you're too afraid to let go. Mihai's eyes narrowed, his grip tightening on his cane. And what are you, Anna? You're nothing but a failure, a broken sacrifice the castle didn't want. The words hit Anna like a slap, but she didn't flinch. At least I'm trying to stop this. At least I'm not hiding behind lies and rituals. Mihai snarled, his composure cracking. He raised his cane and lunged toward Anna, moving faster than Alex thought possible for someone his age. Get back! Alex shouted, stepping between them and raising the flashlight like a weapon. Mihai's cane struck the light, sending it clattering to the floor. Mihai shoved Alex aside, his strength unnatural, and turned his attention back to Anna. His cane arced toward her with brutal force, but Anna moved with startling speed, dodging the blow and shoving Mihai backward. Mihai, stop! Alex yelled, scrambling to his feet, but Mihai wasn't listening. His pale eyes were wild with rage as he swung again, this time connecting with Anna's shoulder. She staggered, but before Mihai could strike again, a low, guttural growl filled the chamber. The creature appears. The sound was unmistakable, a deep, resonant vibration that seemed to come from the very walls of the castle. Alex froze, his heart hammering as the temperature in the room plummeted. What is that? Mihai whispered, his voice trembling. The growl deepened, growing louder, more feral. Shadows in the corners of the chamber began to shift, writhing like living things. It's here, Anna said, her voice cold with dread. The creature emerged from the darkness, its gaunt, monstrous form illuminated by the faint moonlight. Its red eyes burned with a malevolent hunger, and its elongated limbs moved with unnatural grace as it stepped into the room. Mihai's bravado faltered. He stumbled backward, his cane shaking in his hand. No, this can't be. The creature snarled, its jagged teeth glinting as it fixed its gaze on Mihai. Mihai, Anna said sharply, her tone urgent. You have to run, now. But Mihai didn't move. His pale eyes were locked on the creature, his face a mask of terror. It's the Watcher, he stammered. Mihai's final stand. The creature lunged, its clawed hands swiping through the air with terrifying speed. Mihai raised his cane in a desperate attempt to defend himself, but the creature's strength was overwhelming. The cane splintered under the force of the blow, and Mihai was sent sprawling to the floor. No, Alex shouted, rushing forward, but Anna grabbed his arm, pulling him back. You can't help him, she said urgently. It's too late. Mihai struggled to his feet, blood dripping from a gash on his forehead. His breathing was ragged, and his movements were sluggish, but he refused to back down. Come on, then, he growled, his voice shaking but defiant. You want me? Take me. The creature obliged. It struck with brutal precision, its claws ripping through Mihai's chest. He screamed, a sound of pure agony that echoed through the chamber as the creature lifted him off the ground. Blood splattered across the stone floor, pooling in the grooves that lined the room. The bloodstone's hum surged, louder than ever, as Mihai's blood seeped into the castle. The red light in Alex's bag flared, casting the entire room in an eerie, pulsating glow. The bloodstone feeds. Mihai's screams faded into a wet gurgle as the creature tossed his lifeless body to the ground. The air grew heavier, charged with a palpable energy that made Alex's skin crawl. The blood pooling on the floor began to move, snaking across the stone toward Alex's bag. It flowed unnaturally, defying gravity as it was drawn to the bloodstone. No, Alex whispered, stumbling backward. The bloodstone pulsed again, its light intensifying as it absorbed the blood. The hum became deafening, a low, resonant tone that seemed to shake the very foundations of the castle. Mihai, Alex muttered, his voice trembling. Anna stepped forward, her face pale but resolute. He's gone, Alex, and now the bloodstone is stronger than ever. The aftermath. The creature turned its glowing red eyes toward Alex, its movements slow and deliberate, but it didn't attack. Instead, it melted back into the shadows, its form dissipating like smoke. Anna knelt beside Mihai's body, her expression unreadable. He thought he could control it, she said softly. He thought the castle would protect him, but he was wrong. Alex clenched his fists, his mind racing. Mihai was dead, his blood now a part of the Bloodstone's growing power. The castle felt more alive than ever, its malevolent energy pressing down on him from all sides. "We have to move," Anna said, rising to her feet. "Before it comes back." Alex nodded, his jaw tight. There was no time to mourn Mihai, no time to think about the cost of what had just happened. The Bloodstone was growing stronger, and if they didn't act soon, it would consume them all.